This is Dr. Beverly speaking to you from an undisclosed location. Apparently, the legislators who you've been seeking information from are trying to find me to stop me from empowering you in your civic duty. Okay, all kidding aside, everybody take a breath. Calm down. I knew at the beginning of this exercise that very few of you would be able to find all the information that I gave you in the assignment. That wasn't the purpose of the assignment. The purpose of the assignment is around you learning about process. I want you to have a really sort of first-hand experience about what it is to contact your legislators and have them give you any kind of information that you might be seeking. This was basic information, essentially. This wasn't asking them to sort of speak on the complexities of some policy issue. This was basic information, and I think all of you got a sense of how either difficult it is to get phone calls returned or emails returned or getting pointed to the web or, oh, we don't talk publicly, or any of the other myriad of answers and responses that you got. Some of you called me frantically, I can't find it, they won't call me back. That was to be expected. I am less concerned about you filling in all the blanks and making sure all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed than you actually learning something about legislative process. And this was a very valuable lesson, I believe, that you see exactly how the people that you elect or don't elect, the people who you pay with your tax dollars, behave when you're really the boss. Remember, the citizen in a democracy is the sovereign. So send in what you have, make some note about having contacted people, but they may not have contacted you back, or they sent you an email, or they sent you a form letter, or they sent you a fax. Thank you for your concern as a constituent, or whatever it is. Don't worry about whether you got all the blanks filled in. This was an exercise in process, and I want you to have understood the process and make some notes about what you experienced in that, because I believe that I'll include it as a question on your final exam, what you learned through this process. Your next assignment is about legislative tracking, and what that means is I want you to take a piece of legislation and I want you to give me the pertinent details of from when it was introduced to when it finally became law, if you will. You do that and you'll be good. Now, don't take the Obama healthcare legislation from last year and try and do a legislative tracking assignment on that. That is a book. That's not just some 2 or 3 page assignment. Essentially, I will want to know the whole background of the bill, who introduced it, who co-sponsored it, what Congress did it come out of. You can pick any Congress. The good place to start is at thomas.gov, Thomas like Thomas Jefferson, .gov. That's the website for the Congress that you can track all kinds of legislation and find out all kinds of other information about what the Congress is doing, committee reports, and just a myriad of information. So start there. Think about some policy issue or some piece of legislation that you'd like to find out more about and be able to talk about. So you'll start with the basic information. What's the title of the bill? Who introduced it? When did it get introduced? What committees did it get referred to? What was the committee action taken? What was the subcommittee action taken? All that information is at Thomas. Also, you'll want to check some of if it's a really important and short, but important piece of legislation, you may want to check the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Chicago Tribune, the Baltimore Sun, the LA Times, the Boston Globe, Detroit Free Press as newspapers to see if there's any newspaper coverage on the bill and see what was written about at the time that the bill was passed. Give me the disposition. Did it get reported out of committee? Did it get sent back to the House so the House could vote on it or the Senate could vote on it? Was the bill voted on by both chambers of the Congress? Was it signed by the President? If so, when? Was it vetoed by the President? Was that veto overridden? You're giving me the whole history of that piece of legislation. Remember, this is more about process. So make sure that you pick a piece of legislation that is manageable for you, that'll fit in your hands, that you can answer all those questions to. If you have any questions, email me. The time that you need to submit this to me by is April 19th, 11:59 p.m. Shoot me an email by April 19th. Take a couple days to think about the piece and sort of research the piece of legislation that you're looking for. One way to start is to think about, what are you interested in? Are you interested in maybe some portion of No Child Left Behind? Are you interested in national defense? Are you interested in the stimulus package, or health care, or the environment, or clean air, or whatever it is? Just think about a piece of legislation that you might be interested in, and then start digging around in Thomas, digging around in Google, and looking for that legislation. You may want to read some political magazines. On the left, it would be National Journal, Mother Jones, The Nation. On the right, it could be National Review, the Daily Standard, which is a newspaper, but you get what I'm saying, and see if some piece of legislation that they're writing about, some bill that they're writing about, actually emerges. Some people were very interested in the oil spill from last year, and was there some legislation introduced about opening up oil drilling? That would be buried somewhere, but you could find it. It'd probably be a really short piece of legislation, but you can do the assignment. Find out who introduced it, when they introduced it, who were the co-sponsors, what committees did it go to, what subcommittees did it go to, what did those subcommittees do, did they hold hearings, are there committee reports, are those committee reports online, who testified for and against, did both houses of Congress vote on that piece of legislation, did it get sent to the president, did he sign it or veto it? You find out all those things and write that up in as concise a way as possible, but give me some sense that you understand how to track a bill from beginning to end. Again, if you have questions, call me or email me.